Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I recently did a reading on Johnny Depp from the perspective of his astrology and his numerology. And I did mention that I might want to put something up about Amber and then something about their relationship. So I think that's what I'm going to do right now. And we'll look at it from the perspective of astrology, and we will look at Amber's numbers. Actually, let's do that first. Let's look at Amber's numbers first, and then we'll get into the astrology. Now, we don't have an accurate birth time on Amber, so we're going to have to look at her from a more sort of archetypical place in her chart. But we can see how her chart affects Johnny Depp's chart, which is very enlightening, actually. And then also the chart of when they were married and how that affected Johnny Depp's chart, which is very interesting as well. So let's take a look at her numerology. And one other caveat before we get started is I've sort of looked a little bit. I haven't watched the trial that much, just little bits and pieces. It's really very hard to watch, and I don't really have the time to be watching it. So most of this is just going to come from what I see in the charts and just general impressions of the situation that, I guess I could say that I'm getting psychically. So, all right, so let's get started here. Okay, so let's take a look at Amber's numerology and Kabbalah very, very quickly here. And I'm going to bring this a little bit closer so you guys can actually see it and how I get these numbers. You've seen this before in other people's charts, but I do like to go over it each time, especially for those of you who haven't seen one of these before. The other thing I want to mention before we really get into this is one of the reasons I'm not really somebody who spends a lot of time on these sort of celebrity issues. I did actually do something on Will Smith and Jada. That situation, actually, I think it was more Will Smith, because I think it's these things that happen to famous people, as a function of them being famous, are lessons that we ourselves need to learn. And certainly what the idea that comes to mind is this idea of victimizer, and how that can both is something that needs to be addressed, but also can be abused. And I think overall the issue is abuse of power with most of these cases. So let's take a look at Amber. So her name is Amber Laura Heard. She was born April 22nd, 1986 in Austin, I believe, Texas. We do not have a time of birth on Amber. When you add up her vowels in her name, this is her inner feminine, you get a 17-8 vibration. That is the star card in the tarot, which is generally considered pretty positive energy. The star card is associated with the sign of Aquarius, which can be connected to trauma, to trauma. But the soul vibration is that which somebody has worked in previous lifetimes on energy that the person is familiar with, energy that the person needs to be in good relationship with. And the 8 is a vibration of as you sow, so shall you reap. So there is a part of this person who maybe should, I don't like to use the S word, know that that your actions have consequences. But let's keep going and see where this takes us. Her outer personality, which is her consonants, her more masculine side, is a 48/3. 3 is somebody who is generally well liked, communicative, creative. 3 is a creative energy. The 48-3 is a Pisces vibration, and it is associated in the tree of life with the planet Mercury. And we can see that it's sitting right here because we just happen to have this here. And here's her soul right here on the tree of life. But we'll look at the tree of life more closely. If we add these two vibrations together, we get a third vibration called the expression vibration. And that's a 6511 vibration. This is how this person finds balance between her inner and outer self. This is the King of Pentacles, the 6511. It's an 11 vibration. It's a high vibration because it's a master number. These are not easy to maintain. Master numbers take a lot more effort for the most part. And it really is about a balanced perspective, right? But it's also because we're dealing with the 6511 and the energy of Capricorn. This is actually, with this 8 here and the 6511 here, even this 48-3, this is somebody who's relatively ambitious. So they come in sort of with some sort of agenda to succeed, right? Her path of life is what she's come in to learn in this lifetime. It's her life lesson, where she knows these vibrations. So she knows about success. She knows about inspiration. She's pretty smart. The 48-3 is usually somebody who's pretty smart and knows how to present herself, right? Or himself, if you happen to be a male with this vibration. Your path of life, however, is something that you may not be understand. It's your learning curve. It's also called the life lesson. And there she has the 50/5. Now that vibration is actually, and I'm just looking for my Rider-Waite here. Hold on one second. Is the 10 of Cups. And so really she's come in to learn how to be happy. The 10 of Cups can also be, the 50/5 can also be a vibration that has to deal with some sort of addiction, usually alcohol, whether she has the addiction or somebody in her life has the addiction. It sounds like Johnny Depp has had addiction problems over the years. So it's not surprising that she would be attracted to somebody with an addiction problem. And here's her path of life. Of course, her soul vibration is the Star card. I'll pull that out for you just so we can get a fuller picture of Amber. This is her outer personality. This is the 48-3. The issue with 48-3, and I actually have a 48-3 as my outer personality vibration. So I do understand this vibration pretty well. There can be issues around abandonment with this. There has been some sort of abandonment in her past, and probably at least the sense of abandonment in her present lifetime as well. This is also somebody who's a really good storyteller, right? And so we will look at her chart and see what her Mercury is doing. How is her Mercury aspected in her chart may tell us what kind of stories she tells. And then just the soul vibration here. Let me grab that. Still looking. I should have had these prepared, but I didn't. Sort of doing this off the cuff, waiting for my lunch from my husband to make me a sandwich. And you might be saying, well, isn't that nice? Well, he's the chef in the family, so I do other stuff. Here's her soul. So she's inspired. And in fact, when you have a 17-8 soul, and your soul vibration is that which you need to stay in good relationship with, you need to be inspired by something. You need to have a goal. It is an 8 vibration. So goal orientation is important for people who have an 8 as a soul vibration. And the last vibration we look at is her shadow. And this is really, when you look at a situation like the one that Amber finds herself in now, usually it can go back to the shadow. In fact, when we looked at Johnny Depp's shadow, his shadow is a 2911 vibration, and 11 is a relationship vibration. And so his greatest challenges are in his relationships. When 7 is your greatest challenge, it's about knowing yourself. And so, as an eccentric angle or a shadow 7, it's about being unaware of yourself, being unaware of who you are. Um, there can be this need to control your relationships to such an extent that all your energy goes to the other person. And so you feel like you want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want to but they're not doing it, and so then you do everything that you can on your end to make it better. But if you don't know who you are on the inside, it's very difficult to be able to connect with your feeling nature. Now, the 43/7 is the 3 of cups, which is generally considered a positive vibration. It is the vibration of friendship. I'm not sure how many, I don't know if this woman has any friends. I know she did have a very close friend of that she lost to a car accident when I think she was young, maybe 16, I think she said. So there could have been that could have traumatized her, like reintroduced trauma around friendship. But let's take a look at where these things fall on the tree of life, because I find that to be almost more instructive. And I'm going to have to pull out a little bit here so we can see the whole tree of life. So I've put her major vibrations on the tree here. We have her soul here. Now, her soul sits between Netzach, which is associated with the planet Venus, and the moon here, Yesod, which is ruled by the moon. So this is these are your needs, your emotions, your feelings, and the like. And this is also emotional intelligence. So she does have she does sort of have she does have an understanding of what she wants for sure, and maybe to a certain extent how she's going to get it. Here's her quiescent here in the solar plexus. People who have numbers in this on this sort of line here, either in Hod or Netzach. Of course, Netzach is activated through this vibration here. Whenever there's something on a path, it activates both. So she has most of, at least her 2 soul and quiescent here in the lower half of the tree. This is the lower self. This is the lower mind. These bottom 3 chakras are the chakras that are developed through our incarnation into the physical world. The ones above these are more connected to our soul. They're more eternal. When we pass away, these energy gets reabsorbed back into the soul. When we incarnate, that energy, it's like a ladder comes down, and we incarnate. So she does have a pretty good, and I didn't highlight this, but here's her path. So she has really, in a way, what she has is she does have the tools, I think, to be successful on the physical plane. So that's not really what her issue is. And here's her expression up here, the 6511, right, that I spoke of, the King of Pentacles. And here's her shadow. Her shadow lies in a place on the tree of life called Bina. And Bina is associated with the divine feminine. And so I almost feel like she's unaware of, she's unaware of where her pain comes from. I think she's projecting her pain and blaming others, but she's not particularly connected to the fact that it is something within herself. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like she, and I don't doubt she has a lot of pain. This 43/7 vibration is a very sensitive vibration. It is water. It is associated with the sign of Cancer. And Cancers don't always know what they're feeling because it's the first water sign in the zodiac. And so it takes time to sort of decide what it is that you're feeling in a case like this. But when you have your shadow, wherever your shadow is where you have a blind spot. and it is also the healing spot. So in a way, it works like Chiron. It creates the wound, but it also creates um, the opportunity to heal the wound. And so she's kind of blind to her own self, her own emotional self. And it is there is a certain amount. I almost feel like maybe in her last life she was masculine. She has a lot of masculine energy, of course, but Johnny Depp has a lot of feminine energy. So I'm not surprised that they would sort of attract each other in that respect. But I'm not sure she understands that part of herself. This is somebody who doesn't really, I think, understand her own feeling nature. And uh, it comes from a sense of maybe powerlessness. There's also Bina is also associated with Saturn, and when you have your shadow in Bina, sometimes you have difficulty understanding where your responsibility lies. Now, if you remember, or you may not remember because you may not have watched it, but Johnny Depp also has his shadow in Bina, and he also has issues around where his responsibility lies. And I feel like in Johnny Depp's case, he takes on too much responsibility, South Node in Capricorn in the sixth house conjunct his moon. And this woman takes no responsibility. Um, and so they're together to learn how she needs to take responsibility for what's being said or what's happening in her life. And perhaps he needs to stop uh, allowing abusive relationships into his life. Okay, so let's take a look at the astrology now. All right, so we're going to share my screen now. Different screen. Let's see, where are we here? Okay, so let me see if I can find, you can just ignore what this says here. Okay, so I think this is Amber. All right, so here's Amber's chart. We're going to just look at it really quickly because we're not sure of the accuracy. I'm just giving her a noontime chart. And a couple of things I want to point out about her chart. First of all, here's her sun in Taurus. It is conjunct her north node. Now, her north node is at 2959 of Aries, south node at 2959 of Libra. This is the very, very beginning of this axis. The nodes of the moon start at 2959, actually, and move to 0. So her evolutionary sort of corridor that she's being asked to travel is the corridor of relationship. In Libra, it's our relationship to the other. In Aries, it's our relationship to ourselves, the I am and the we are. So when you see these nodes right at the very, very beginning, we know that this is somebody who may not really know how to relate, actually, because it's almost like it's a new journey for them. She does have a lot of oppositions in her chart. She has the sun opposing um, Pluto. Oppositions are tense aspects. They're aspects that require a lot of balance. They are connected to relationship because the opposition is found energetically between Aries and I am and Libra, the other person, right? That's the tension of opposites there. In fact, the opposition is considered sort of a Libra aspect in a way. But when you have an opposition between Pluto and the sun, there can be issues around control. She could attract controlling relationships, or she could try to control her relationships. And I think that's probably true on both ends of this spectrum. But that Pluto and Scorpio conjunct the South Node is a special situation when Pluto is conjunct the South Node of somebody who it's going to take them at least to their second Saturn return before they actually get what it is that they're here to learn. And what she's here to learn is how to be herself. Who is Amber? Amber does not know who Amber is, right? Okay. And it's going to take her until at least she's in her 50s to finally get it. So in fact, when she met, right around the time that they, I think, got involved, she was in her first Saturn return. So she was just coming into her adulthood. And that Saturn return requires us to be grown-ups, but she's not quite evolutionarily maybe ready to do that. And so maybe she's looking for somebody to, and it's hard to say, guide her in a way, even though she herself seems to be quite controlling. She also has Saturn opposite her Chiron. She doesn't feel heard, Heard, right? She's heard. She wants to be heard. There is a wound around her ability to communicate here. She does have Black Moon Lilith here as well. Black Moon Lilith tends to, take things to extremes. Is this somebody who is honest? Possibly not. And I just say that because she does have Neptune in an inconjunct, actually, to her Black Moon Lilith. It's a little wide for Chiron, but there are issues. She also has Mars conjunct Neptune here. This is somebody who may not, motivations are a little foggy and a little confused. Let's see, what's the other thing I want to say about this? She does have Mars in Aries, so she has Mars in Aries, which can be very blunt and very sharp. And because did I say Mars? I meant Mercury. She has Mercury in Aries. She has Mars in Capricorn. Here's her ambition right here, Mars in Capricorn. This is somebody who knows how to work. She's a hard worker, whatever she decides to do. If she decides to do something for a movie, I'm sure she's a very hard worker to do a good job. But she would also be a hard worker to get what she wants, right? And if she wants to destroy Johnny Depp, she's going to work hard at it. Okay. All right. Yeah. And so this Mercury in Aries can be a very sharp tongue. And because Chiron in Gemini is ruled by Mercury. When she feels wounded, I think that's when this can really come out. And she's not afraid to go to extremes with it because it is sextile Black Moon Lilith. All right, let's take a look at, let me see if I can find it here. This is Johnny Depp and Amber. Let's see, there's a lot of planets here. Let me see if I can simplify this one a little bit. I may not be able to. Hold on one second. Yeah, it's so basic. Okay, let me do this. Oops. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, and I just have to find them here. I know I am up here. Just hang with me for a minute here. Here we go. Johnny Depp and Amber. All right. So now this is Johnny's chart right here. Now we have an accurate birth time on Johnny, so we know that this is a true chart for him. And so what we'll do is we'll put Amber's planets around. The one we're not sure of her moon. Her Mercury may be off by a degree, maybe not. But they do have some pretty intense connections here. First of all, Johnny's Venus and his Mercury are conjunct in Taurus in the 10th house. She has a Venus in Taurus. So they are actually, they have similar values. And, Taurus is a Venus ruled sign. So in the case, Venus and Taurus can be very kind of stubborn. Venus and Taurus can be can be very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very interested in money and resources and the value of things. Now, Johnny has his Saturn square his Venus in his chart, makes him a very, very hard worker, but it can also create problems because he's trying to build relationships from a place of survival, like a lot, I think a lot of his relationships or the way he relates to people, I think he does it in such a way so that that maybe he seems like a really genuinely nice person who doesn't like to create a lot of problems and negativity, but it may be a way of him avoiding standing up for himself. So that needs to be evaluated. And she's not going to necessarily challenge that because of this aspect, but where she does challenge it is right here. He has Chiron in Pisces, and her Jupiter sits right on top of it. And what Jupiter does is it expands it. So if this is his wounds, especially in the 8th house of intimacy, and also this can also be addictions, right? She's going to expose that. So it's like a light shining on his deepest wounds that he would rather keep hidden in that 6th house. But she's putting it out for everyone to see. We also have her Mars conjunct his moon. This can be very nasty. This can be somebody who's very nasty to you, right? Hitting you where it hurts and affecting your work, your 6th house. But it's also his moon is conjunct his south node. And so this is where I see him having sort of an oversized sense of responsibility and a repression to a certain extent of his feelings. And what she does is she pokes at him. She pokes at him. So I feel like what she maybe sees in him is somebody who should be angry at, like maybe she feels like she's doing him a favor to like bring up all this stuff that's going to be angry for him. And, he's going to respond to it in the way that he responds to it. And I hope anyway, for his sake, that he's able to, I hope for both their sakes, that this experience really brings a certain amount of healing to them both. In the case of Johnny, perhaps, selecting, really coming to understand his relationship dynamic with his mother, and how Amber seems to be a sort of relive of that. I think this is important for him, for his own sense of no longer being under the thumb of the abusive feminine, perhaps. And for Amber, I think it's coming to terms with trusting enough that she's enough to be herself and to, not have this need to control her relationships. I think she honestly doesn't feel safe in the world. I don't think she feels safe. So I don't know, it's a guess on my part because I don't really know these people, but we can look at their charts and we can definitely see where at least in the case of Amber, she's getting activated. She activates Johnny's chart to bring about a healing. This is a healing opportunity for Johnny Depp. And because he's a public figure, all these issues that are coming up within this relationship are issues that we as the public are also sort of living with them and getting triggered by them. I think it's really interesting. I was thinking like the two people who are like in the news right now, um, most these sort of these well-loved men, um, are Johnny Depp and Volodymyr Zelensky. And I think they both exhibit a powerful feminine side and a real sort of love, um, and sweetness and aspirational stuff, right? So it's very interesting because we also see in the news, the Putin side, and in the case of Amber, also it seems the abusive side. Um, I don't know what her motivations are to do this. I don't think that she is got a grasp of her own heart. These two are definitely karmically connected though. And you'll always see that with when somebody's planet is on your node, especially your south node, especially your south node. Um, she also has her Pluto on Johnny Depp's Black Moon Lilith. And this is where you can go to extremes kind of thing. This could even be, in his case, his mother. So she's just another sort of application of the energy of his mother. And he did say that. He did say that. And he did realize that he had to leave Amber when he realized that he had married his mother. So, his healing journey, and it's been a long journey because they've been together for about 9 years now. So, it's a learning curve for both of them. All right. So let me get out of this. Oh, let's look at one more chart. And this is the chart of and let me see if I can just find it here. Mom dies married. Here we go. Okay, so what number is that? Oh, I don't know. Okay, let's do this. Let's look at Johnny Depp and let's look at the day they got married. All right. So Johnny Depp brings her into his life through marriage. And let's see what was going on that day. Oh, look, he was having his Chiron return. And Mars was there. So this already sets up a lot of perhaps pain coming his way. We do have Venus and Neptune in his 7th house. Venus is love, Neptune is compassion. This is maybe not seeing things very clearly in his house of marriage. So I think he went into it feeling really good. We have Jupiter in his 1st house. He was feeling empowered through Jupiter in that 1st house, maybe a little bit optimistic for himself here. And here we have Pluto. Pluto sitting right on his moon. So, and then through this period that he's married to her, Pluto is also going to be sitting on his south node. Now, not everybody gets that, but what Pluto on the south node does is it brings up all the past karma, the 6 houses, the karma stuff. And so it's sort of exposing the ways the south node is childhood. So a lot of childhood stuff could be coming up for him in this period, and of course she's activating it as well in other ways. So and then we had Uranus here on his Jupiter. Uranus on his Jupiter and the south node. So he has 2 sort of south node energies that are connected to nodes. So this marriage really, I think, was in its way fated for him to do the healing that he needs to do, and hopefully the healing that she needs to do as well. But we're not going to know until she's in her 50s. And I don't know if I'll be around that long. So somebody will have to let me know at that time. All right. So, all right. So let's see where we want to go here. I think I want to stop. Let's stop the share. So hopefully you have some insight into this. I don't know if this is helpful for anybody or interesting, but I thought it would be a good thing to look at. Honestly, I think that he is going to win this, and I think it's going to be important for him, and I think it's going to, I think that actually I think him winning is going to be more important for us, um, because I think that on a certain level he's already sort of gleaned a lot of the lessons that he needs to learn from this situation, and we get to share that with him and see how it's reflected in our relationships, and where we have gotten in situations like this where we've been taken advantage of. You know, Chiron in Aries right now is the wound of the wounded masculine, right? And the wounded masculine really is on some level talking about a power over dynamic, and feeling powerless in a way to you want to have autonomy with the Chiron and Aries. So we're all sort of learning the lesson through this common experience. And it's, very easy to sort of get online and, pick sides. It's very easy to love Johnny Depp because we've known him for so long. We've grown up with him to a certain extent. And he really does seem like a regular guy, like a really nice person. With his issues, we all have our issues, right? And Amber seems like a shrew, and maybe a woman using the Me Too movement to attack men, but it's not really about that. It's about our need for autonomy. It's about our need to love ourselves. It's about our need to. It's not a male. It's not so much a male female issue as it is an issue of what rights a person has to themselves. And we're seeing that in the Ukraine. We're seeing that with the Alito memo. We're seeing it with the slap at the Oscars. We're seeing it with this, with Johnny Depp. It doesn't matter. You can have toxic masculine, quote unquote masculine energy, that sort of, I can pretty much do whatever I want to. I can beat you up, kind of energy, and be a woman just as easily. Causing pain and manipulating people isn't just the purview of women or of men. We generally have to work with the power that we have. And in society, women don't have a lot of power. They still don't have a lot of power. They're finally being heard, which is huge. As a woman who's 60 years old right now, the Me Too movement was a very important milestone. So I think this is all important stuff for us to look at and to learn, and hopefully you learned something. I'm not sure how good this one is, but you let me know, okay, if you like these and you want me to continue. I'll do them anyway, whether you it's like I can't help myself. Goodness gracious. All right, guys, have yourself a wonderful day. Like, subscribe. If you would like a reading for yourself, numerology and Kabbalah and astrology for yourself, I do those. You can go to my website, theseedoftransformation.com. Go to services. If you want one of these readings with the Kabbalah and the numerology and the astrology, I would suggest the 90-minute reading. There's a lot of information that comes out with this. And we probably need the extra time, but it's up to you. All right, guys, take care. Much love. Namaste.